Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and today we are looking at the Tetsuhiro line of knives, and this time we're checking out their Western or Yo-handled AS Gyuto 240mm knife. This knife line has a core steel of Aogami blue paper super steel, and this is a reactive carbon steel from Hitachi with good, very good edge retention. The heat treat rating is about 62 to 63 Rockwell on that core steel. Construction is a softer stainless steel cladding on top of that core steel for a 3-layer sandwich. And so only the core steel exposed at the edge where the cladding meets the core is reactive. The rest of the blade is stainless for a little bit easier maintenance. They do have an almost identical version of this knife in R2 powdered metallurgy stainless steel for an all stainless version. If that's something you're interested in, they're very similar knives, pretty much except for the core steel. The construction, or excuse me, I already did that. The weight is about 260 grams or 9.1 ounces, so it's got a little bit of heft to it. And the blade length is 245 on this one. These can vary just a little bit, but it's a little bit over 240, 245, 9.65 inches, and about 14.7. So it's a good sized blade. The spine thickness back here coming out of the bolster is about 2.3 millimeters, and these don't really have much distal taper. So they pretty much hold that all the way through down the knife. We'll get a little closer look at it, and then it tapers off a bit with the grind of the knife. The tip doesn't get super skinny, and the edge isn't super skinny either. It's not thick, but it's not super duper thin as either. So this should have a little bit of durability to it. As such, you know, a high hardness, fairly thin knife can, but in a pro environment, might have a bit of a durability or workhorse character to it. The blade height is fairly generous at 50.6 millimeters, so it's got some nice height as well. And the handle is pretty much a bulletproof black micarta handle, so they're choosing a black micarta for the material, which I applaud. It's even more durable than the already quite durable black packawood that a lot of makers use and is used in a lot of hunting knives and such. So kudos for that. This should be a very durable knife. Again, if used correctly. I'm not going to use it for some of the stuff we would get away with soft German steel knives, for example. So the AS line differentiates itself one way from the R2 line with a little more classic presentation with some embossed kanji and a bit of a wave to the cladding line versus the straight line on the R2 and their screened on kanji and logo. Other than that, again, they're almost identical knives. You know, the fit and finish, the grind is quite good on this. These are well-made knives. My only issue to make you aware of would be they don't really round off the spine or the sharp edges on the back of the blade, the choil back here. So for comfort, you may want to hit those with a little bit of sandpaper to kind of relieve those edges to your particular liking. Other than that, they had a pretty nice out-of-the-box edge. I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10. Pretty well done edge on it, and you know, pretty high quality construction. Let's take a look at the balance point. Bring it down here a little bit. So the balance point is just a little bit in front of the bolster. So it's got a pretty neutral feel in a pinch grip, and would have a fairly neutral feel in a racket grip as well. So this should handle both grips quite well. Let's take a look at a cutting board example. So these really don't have a lot of flat spot. That has been true of the 175, the 210, and you can see the 240. So they're pretty consistent in their style of profile. They've all had really nice profiles to them in terms of being smooth with no bumps or dips. So well done. Real nice flow on a cutting board. But you don't see a lot of flat spot here. Fair amount of belly towards the tip. I can get about right there before I start hitting the tip on the board and trying to dig in a little bit. So there's your profile on the cutting board. Again, just a well-executed line of knives. Might need a little bit of fit and finish attention on the spine, the choil at the back of the blade, but if you're looking for a Western Yo-handled carbon cored knife with some good edge retention and maybe something with just a little bit of durability for a pro environment and some, as I said, some nice edge retention, this might be a really interesting option to check out. So this is the Tetsuhiro Western AS Gyuto 240mm knife.